a very warm evening to all. Welcome back to another enlightening episode of IRE Talks powered by GIBS Business School. And in today's episode, we will be exploring the world of innovation. Not just innovation, but we will understand how to explore new ideas without leaving our traditions behind. This brings us to the topic of discussion, navigating change, the dance between innovation and tradition. Before we head start into today's IRE talk powered by GIBS Business School, I would like to take a minute and introduce the idea of IRE talk to our esteemed guests and all our attendees. At GIBS IRE Talks, we envision a world where knowledge, inspiration, and innovation are boundless and accessible to all, unceasingly transformative. Our vision is to be the pioneer that transcends educational boundaries, fostering a global community of lifelong learners, forward thinkers, and change makers. At GIBS, we are not your typical school. We believe in learning by doing that encourages new ideas, supports research, and sparks the spirit of entrepreneurship. Our goal is to help people like you all reach your full potential, both personally and professionally. GIBS Business School is more than just a school, and it's a place where innovation is encouraged, connections are made, and success is reimagined. Today's topic will provide a comprehensive overview of fascinating exploration of how societies and individuals intricately navigate the evolving landscape of progress. This discussion will unveil the dynamic interplay between embracing innovation for societal advancement and preserving cherished traditional values. Discover the delicate dance individuals engage in to strike a balance, ensuring that progress aligns with the rich tapestry of cultural heritage, fostering resilience and harmony in the face of rapid change. Now, let's get to know our speaker of the evening, Ms. Bhavani Arun. She is a career growth coach, emotional intelligence coach, and international trainer with over 23 years of professional experience. Whether in the dynamic realm of travel industry or as an entrepreneur, she has found passion and joy in every step of the journey. I believe she believes in authenticity and strives to add value to people's life through her work. Having weathered the highs and lows of life, she is a constant companion of art and embracing the challenges and transforming them into opportunities. It's her commitment to build resilience that will define the path ahead. As we embark on this journey of knowledge and reflection today, let us now open our minds to new perspectives and ideas that have the potential to reshape the way that we approach leadership, entrepreneurship, and innovation. I encourage all our audience to actively participate throughout the session, ask questions, and engage in this dialogue that goes beyond just business metrics. And without now further ado, I request Ms. Bhavani to take over the session and proceed further.
Thank you, Palak, and thanks to IRE Talks for inviting me here. Bear with my voice a little bit, thanks to the Bangalore weather. Just got a little bit under the weather, but I'll give my best. Thank you. It's a very interesting topic and something that is close to heart, and I think we all are striving towards managing our traditions and embracing the change in terms of innovation that's happening. So let me put in a few points or gather what information that I've gathered across so that it will help the students in the way forward, either if they choose an entrepreneurship journey or whatever that they choose to after what they are pursuing at GIBS. This is for all of you. Our world is in a constant flux, driven by the forces of change, and we always see that there is a progress, very dynamically things are changing, and it is also supported by the technology advancements, societal shifts that is happening, and this brings in global interconnectedness. I think the world has become too small place now, and thanks to the technology that everything is very much approachable and we can see things and reach out to people much faster than the olden times where the letter would take ages to reach us, right? So this is where the advancements have happened in our day-to-day life. Now, how do we bring in all of this? So let me quickly share my screen. Some inputs that have just gathered for everybody's addressed, and I hope everybody is excited and looking forward to what this discussion is going to bring in. Palak, just let me know if my screen is visible.
Yes, Bhavani, it is. It is now. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see that how do we dance between tradition and innovation? Is this necessary? We just have to let go of our traditions or only stick on to innovations? I would say that we should have a harmony between it. And why? Further, let's dive into. Traditions is nothing but which is an internal part of our own identity, the communities that we belong to, our individuality, our rich history, culture, and religion that signifies all of these traditions. But it is also important that we keep our roots grounded and we have them in our way of life. Why? Why do we need that? This is who we are. If we go back in time, India has a very rich heritage, and we are known for a lot of traditions and culture. There are a lot of good aspects and learning in our own history. One is the way that we treat our guest. We call it Atiti Devo Bhava. That's part ingrained in our tradition, and that is what puts us on the global map of hospitality. And having coming from a hospitality industry, I can tell you this, and I can vouch for it. The way we Indians treat our guest, no other nationality does that. At least in the hospitality world, because we treat our guest as equal to God and we give them all the service that is received. So these are some of the traditions that we need to nurture and keep them. While a paradigm shift is very much important, we need to change to times, we need to adapt to the policies, changing times and things. That's also very important. But staying grounded to our tradition is very important too. Preserving our traditions. This is because it's like an anchor that holds on to our cultural identity, and it also helps us to navigate the change. So preserving some of our age-old traditions, it could be Ayurveda, yoga. All of this is our traditional thing. We need to preserve them for the future ahead, because these are very important, and how we can use this with the technological advancements is what we would be sharing. Innovation. Now, coming to innovation, innovation is nothing in a layman language. It's a tool that will help us resolve some age-old problems. For example, the internet, right? We earlier had something called as letters, mails, telegram. Have you not the social media telegram? I'm talking about the telegram thing. When people and even before that, it was the letters or the messages were through the birds, eagles or doves would carry, being the messenger. But it was so difficult to reach out to a person from another region. It was very difficult to communicate, because by the time we would reach the communication, that person might be there, not be there, or possibility of it not reaching. But with the advent of telephone, we started to communicate a little more easily. And when internet came in, things have just changed, and there has been an evolution around. Do you all agree with me on this? So that's why these innovations are something that are very important for us. And what problems are these innovations gapping? Like age-old problems, connectivity was an issue, and thanks to the innovations in terms of technology, that has helped us. Now, if we see the current generation, that the current space that we are in, we have the IoT of things, which means Internet of Things, everything under just a click and everything mapped to your phone, from your fan lights, the tube lights, switches, microwave, you name it, and everything can be done it through this technology, which is helpful for people who are busy in their life, who need to have a check. Like I'm a working mom, so sometimes I need to know what's happening with my son. So this technology does help me to stay connected and see what's happening. The 5G technology, which gives us more faster connectivity. AI has been a boon Let's not talk about what it has not been, but it has definitely been a boon in medical, in a lot of other ways. AI technology is helping to put off the fires in some places. It's helping us in terms of medicinal reach, and we saw that during COVID also. This technology did help us, right? And blockchain technology is all about your cryptos and all of this. So we've seen the evolution that's happening. Now, while all of this change is happening and we are adapting to the change, let's talk about those companies or those firms which are not adapting to the change. What's happening? They are being very stuck with their own traditional way of doing things, or they don't want to adapt new innovations. Any guesses of any companies or any name that you can think of where they were not quick enough to adapt to some changes and they kind of lost the market that they had? Any names? You can put it on the chat box if or on the Q&A. Any company that anybody remembers? Any names that you can recollect? Where companies did not, pick up onto the change, what was happening, and they kind of lost the market. Any idea? They were a leading. Okay, let me give a clue. It was a leading mobile manufacturing
Yeah,
company.
we have Nokia put up by some of the
Yes,
participants.
it is Nokia. Correct. Thank you. It is Nokia. So they were at one point a leading mobile service provider globally, just not only in India, but I'm talking about a very good share market that they had of users globally. And what happened? From where they were, now they are not in that space at all. Maybe they have other things that they're doing, but they're really definitely not the market leaders in terms of mobile. Why? Because they did not wanted to adapt to the Android technology that was coming in at that time, and they felt that, oh, it's not needed. We've already been there. We have the market. I don't think so. Our users will need this. So this is where some of the age-old thoughts, where a paradigm shift is what we call, is needed, wherein you can adapt to the changes in the current scenario. And if you don't, you are not part of the growth and you miss out. That means the companies miss out. Now, if you're being an entrepreneur, it is very important for you to understand the latest technologies, the methodologies, while you also keep your traditions in terms of core values of the company, like your authenticity, being genuine, being transparent. These are all the things that you can have as your core values, which is your based on your traditions, but bring in the technology and methodology that's needed for you to propel and grow as an entrepreneur, right? Now, another company that I would like to bring to your notice is they started as an evolution, or they revolutionized the way of listening to music. They introduced the smallest cute little gadget. Any guesses what was that? Any names? Let me see in the Q&A. They introduced the way the music industry changed, that you can hear to music just with a small gadget in your pocket, and transform the way how you could listen to music. Not the age-old Walkman that I used, but it became very small after a point. Like in 2001, they introduced this. It was called as iPod. Anybody remembers? By Apple. And look at the transformation that they've had. They've been the leaders in terms of innovation, understanding what their customer need, and they've kind of revolutionized everything. They also keep in the tradition of their value is to ensure that the customers' needs are met and provide them the latest technology user experience from an iPod to an iPhone. Apple has revolutionized the way the market was thinking. I mean, they brought in a different approach in terms of creating a brand recall, brand value, and all of this. And this was possible because they kept changing to the time and they kept adapting them frequently. Yes, market influence will be there, market changes would be there. I will talk about that in a while. Now, let's say companies or government does not invest in any kind of innovation or technology. What's going to happen? We are a developing country, and it's very much evident that we need to invest in all of this for our growth. And we know during COVID how India became self-sustainable in terms of getting the vaccinations done, and it also supported the other countries around the world with the vaccine, and they were able to do it in the right way, with the right approach, much better than any of the so advanced countries. And this was possible because of the available technology, the way the science has developed, and the required systems were there in place when compared to how it was before. At least they made those provisions much quicker than what it was needed. This was just one way of looking at it. And with biotechnology advances, it's helping our agricultural the innovations that has been done in that. It's helping a lot of agricultural farmers. It's helping us on our produce, which is India is an agricultural country. By occupation, majority of the land is agriculture, right? And AR is nothing but your augmented reality and virtual reality. How much of it has helped us to visualize and think about the future, and renewable energies and innovations. So these are some of the changes that we have quickly adapted, and most of the countries have adapted and have brought in a lot of change in terms of using the innovation, which is for a right reason. Now, why should one embrace the innovation? As an example that I gave for Nokia, it could be Nokia, it could be Kodak, it could be many other companies who did not really embrace innovation and the new. They were not okay with the change. They were very resistant, like they were withholding. They didn't wanted to accept the change that was going on. But those who accepted the change and embraced it, they also embraced the innovation part. Their product and customer services improved. Now, from our laptops and computers getting sleeker, there were times in when it was introduced, it needed a whole room to be kept and placed. But we have changed. It has evolved over a period of time. Our phones, if you're using smartphones, we do get regular updates on its thing, and these are all needed. If you're not going to update an app, let's say you have an app and you have not updated it, it tends to slow down. It's not going to be useful to you, while somebody using the same app who has got an updated version, they're able to do things faster, and you're like, hey, my phone is hanging, this software I'm not able to get, I'm not able to book a cab if it's an Uber app, and you've not updated it. So can you see, a small update can also slow you down if you don't do it on time. That is a difference if you don't embrace the innovation and get the check needed in a regular interval. Now, for companies, it will help you to develop new products, change the products, bring in changes depending on the market need. It helps you to grow and expand your market. For example, McDonald's. You can take in McDonald's. When it originated in US, but now it has global presence. How could they do that? They applied whatever was needed. They got the formula. It worked in one place. Then he implemented in another place, and they kept replicating it everywhere. And this helped them to have a great market approach. Like globally, one store that you can see in any corner of the world is McDonald's. Having traveled quite a lot, I can only say that McDonald's is one restaurant that we all look for when we're traveling, because we're familiar with it, because it's there in India as well. And the beauty of it is they understood the need of every region. They have some local customized meals options for the region that they are there, and they have their own traditional way of doing it. But they also introduce technologies for faster delivery, order time, and all of that is only possible with the technology that they kept evolving and using with the latest technologies. Now there are some places where it is all robotic. You just have to punch in and you get it, but you still get your same burger, same experience everywhere. So this helps you to grow your market, and your operational efficiencies also increase because you're going to standardize the process and everything. So your operational efficiencies increase. Then they keep adapting to change. Change is something that is inevitable, and the more you resist, the more you're not going to grow. So they keep adapting to the existing change. Customer experience enhancement, this also gives you to understand what the customer needs. Like, for example, that I said of Apple, they kept working on doing a lot of research on what the customer need. How do I meet the customer's need? Okay, this is the new thing. This is a trend from introducing a smartphone with touch screen to evolutionizing it. Now it's become like a luxury statement or anything with to do with iPhone, but they have created that space for their customer where they have made their security so tight. If somebody is on if their Mac or phone is lost, you cannot probably even do anything with that once it gets blocked, right? So the security is so well maintained, and this gives the customer that assurance of, okay, my data is going to be on the cloud and everything is secure, right? So it's always a customer that they're putting in and giving them the best of the experience. It also creates a brand image and reputation. Tatas are known for their trust. If you go to any of the Tata properties in terms of holiday experience, you will see the same hospitality in the same way. The experience on their aircraft or be it on their hotels is all going to be the same. Customer experience is what they really work on, and the reputation that the brand carries, their brand has that image. And it also gives people to have a competitive advantage. Now, competitive advantage is very important and necessary in a business because you need to know what your competition is doing. Example of Nike and Adidas, if you take these two as they're the global market players for your sports requirements. It could be shoes, it could be any of the sport gears that you need. These are globally known. But do we know the history of Nike when it was down and how they came up? They really took a competitive advantage of bringing in Michael Jordan and introduced a brand called Air Jordan. That propelled Nike's sales. And that is what was the difference when you get a competitive advantage, when you do that market research and you're playing that, okay, these are my risk elements. I might lose so much of my share in the market. How do I get this advantage? If the competition is doing something, how do I revolutionize? How do I bring in a different change? And all of this is possible only when you're adapting to the innovations and keeping your traditional thing. Nike is just do it. That is their slogan. And they just did it. All whatever it took, they just went ahead and did it. And this gave them, I think it propelled, they were doing almost, I think 15 times of whatever sales that they did, if I'm not wrong. The numbers were like really huge. So that is something that competitive advantage you can get. Now, risk mitigation is also important in when you're in your business. What are the kind of risk if I don't adapt to the change of getting a new technology? For example, my own company, I run a training and a coaching company. Now, what's the risk if I be in the traditional way of just doing only offline, where I just go to offline and I'm not open to doing online? And we all know right now the growth is online and not on offline. So if I don't move to that, then my company is going to die soon, right? So that is the risk mitigation I have to do, that as a company, as a founder of a company, how do I keep my company going? What are the risks if I don't apply certain things? What are the chances of me missing? And in the Gen Z language, the FOMO, right? Feeling of missed out. I don't want to be in that zone of missing out on opportunity of growth. And here, it's going to be a very big loss for me. So risk mitigation, even if I'm applying some new technology or a new methodology in my business or any other business, we have to evaluate the risk involved in it. If you're not able to evaluate the risk, then your road ahead seems more bleak. So you should have that understanding and take those calculated risks, whichever is needed. Okay. So this is what is about risk mitigation. I hope there are no questions. If there is any, I could answer now, or can we do it at the end?
We'll take them at the end.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Yes, that's fine. So now I'll just play a video quickly. I will just play it directly from the tape. Just give me a minute. This is a video about when we do not use the innovation, and it is an innovator's dilemma. It's a book written, very famous book, which kind of helped a lot of companies to understand what are the elements if they miss out. Just play this video. Just give me a minute.
The Innovator's Dilemma by Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen. The book explains how successful companies that dominate their industries fail in the face of disruptive innovation. It's a message of
I think there is a little issue. Just give it. Okay.
The Innovator's Dilemma by Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen. The book explains how successful companies that dominate their industries fail in the face of disruptive innovation. It's a message of caution for leadership teams at these companies, but also a message of encouragement for competitors venturing against these Goliaths. First, we'll distinguish between sustaining and disruptive innovation. Then, we'll discuss why it's difficult for most companies to adopt disruptive technologies. And finally, what does it all mean for both large companies and startups? There are two types of innovation: sustaining and disruptive. A company follows a path of sustaining innovation when it improves a product's performance based on feedback from its best and largest customers. It's usually about reducing defects and making something faster or more powerful. In contrast, a disruptive innovation often involves lower performance in many of the key features valued by the market. It often means more defects and less speed or power. A disruptive product appears as if it's doing everything wrong. A large company with sophisticated and demanding clients can't adopt such a technology. Why would anyone want to focus on a disruptive innovation? The subtle but key difference is that sustaining innovation satisfies customers' current needs, whereas disruptive technologies and business models evolve to meet customers' future needs. These two types of innovation are at the core of the innovator's dilemma. Following a sustaining innovation path makes a lot more sense in the short term, but can ultimately doom the company to failure. On the other hand, dedicating valuable resources to a niche and unproven opportunity doesn't make sense, but can be the future of the company. Disruptive innovation is often born from a need that exists in a niche market that's neglected by current market offerings. That small market segment may not care about traditional performance features. A great example is cameras and smartphones. Smartphones started with very poor camera capabilities that served only the lowest tier of customers. Initially, they were pretty useless as cameras, and few people would use them. But they evolved in leaps and bounds and now have successfully displaced cameras from many traditional uses. Similar business model and technological disruptions appear all over the place. Wikipedia rendered encyclopedias extinct. Google Maps replaced expensive navigation systems. Skype dealt a big blow to phone companies. Netflix drove large video rental retail chains to bankruptcy. The Kindle is changing book publishing. Airbnb is driving hotel managers crazy. And Uber has taxi drivers up in arms. The question is, why are large, well-resourced companies often caught asleep? Why aren't they at the forefront of disruptive innovation? Given the small market size and unappealing characteristics of a disruptive technology, a successful company can't dedicate resources to small and unproven offerings. What does this mean for large companies' future? Even though disruptive innovations may not make sense in the short term, they simply can't be ignored. Companies need to listen to their customers in order to continue successfully with their sustaining innovations. But they need to look at niche markets and how they use their products in order to identify potentially disruptive innovations and embrace them. For startups, it's all good news. As long as their innovation has the potential to improve performance rapidly, it's actually a good thing that their initial market is small. This gives them more time to fine-tune their technology. Many startups have been and will continue to be surprised by their much larger competitors' indifference. The Innovator's Dilemma was published in 1997, but continues to be an extremely insightful approach to innovation, explaining why market leaders can't afford to ignore innovations that cater to niche markets, while startups, perhaps, don't need to worry too much about their larger competitors. A small target market can be the start of something really big.
I hope the video was insightful on understanding why most of the small companies have made miracles and have progressed, while some of the large companies have missed out because they have short-term visions and they really don't think as a long-term. While business models, they do work on a long-term, but not long-term based on the customer's need. So that is the gap that most of the companies identify. Let it be your Uber, your Zomato, your Swiggy, your Oyo, all of these identified that core need of the customer, and they were able to provide that solution to the customer using the technology and keeping their traditions in place. So that is why they were able to propel and grow faster when compared to other companies. Yes, so as we progress further, so now coming to just to show a few examples of the companies where they've used, how they have kind of had a perfect harmony or a balance between tradition and innovation. Let's take the Marriott Hotels, group of hotels. It's an international chain. And the picture here on the right up on my thing is the hotel in Jaipur, where they've kept the traditional decor and everything to the place, bringing in the culture and the value about the place. They have introduced much better, faster check-in process with room keys being digitalized and everything on a click of your phone. So that is a perfect blend and a harmony of a tradition and the innovation with modernity. Now, the next, below the other hotel that you see is of Scholars in Germany. It's a very beautiful boutique castle. It takes you back in time, a very traditional hotel. It was actually a fireplace before, and a fire station actually before, and it's converted to a hotel. And Marriott has retained its how it was, and they run it very beautifully. I was lucky to experience this place. So when you go into it, it takes us back into, if you watched all these fantasy movies and things like that, it just takes us over there where they've kept all the castle things and the sofas and the fireplace and everything is so beautiful. But they have all the latest gadgets. You do have your coffee making machines, your vending machines. So you do have the latest technologies as well. So this is a perfect harmony of how we need to have our traditions, which is so important, grounded to the place, talks about the culture, the folklore of that place, and bring in the traditional innovations that will help us in the modern time, which is very much needed. Another example of how Toyota is so successful and a market leader in terms of automobile, because they use the Kaizen principles, which is of the Japanese, where they're continuously emphasizing on improvement, applying, learning. They identify the problems, they develop a countermeasure, then they did it's a perfect harmony of bringing in the technology while they are also keeping in their tradition of customer focus, giving in what the customer needs and that experience, continuously working on. So this is a delicate dance between how the companies which are successful in maintaining how they've been changing and evolving to the changing times and adapting to everything that is possible, yet bring in some sustainability measures as well, not just going berserk and applying whatever the things, but being mindful in applying a lot of these technologies as well, which would help the future generations and people to come forward in the generation ahead. Now, when we know it's a manufacturing company, there is going to be a lot of wastage, pollution and all of that. But now we know that every company that comes in are very mindful about this. There are norms, there are measures to be taken, and you don't have any other option but to follow it. So we're being mindful. Sustainability is the need of the hour right now, and renewable energies are working we have so many options that has come up in the last decade that we are able to sustain ourselves much better. Right? So these are some of the cases that I had to share to show you how traditions are important while innovations is also important, because traditions are there in its place. It talks about our identity, but there are some age-old problems that we also face, and how innovations can be that bridge which will help us bond. So that is why it's very important that we have a blend of both in our way of life, in our business approach, be it to run a company or to start your entrepreneurship or anywhere else. It is very much needed. It could be a small company, it could be a big mid-sized company. Everybody have to adapt to the changing times and be open and build in that resilience, that any kind of a change that happens. COVID was the best example. So many companies adapted to so many things. Work from home was never a normal norm in India, but that became a way of life, right? So these are some of the things that we need to be resilient towards and learn to adapt. I think now I'm good to take questions.
Great, Bhavani. So we can head towards the Q&A section.
Should I read it
So the first one, yes. So the first one we have from Ashwin Chaudhary. Okay. So I wish you all the best, Ashwin, for the results, and I really hope you get through. Okay, so we'll take Israel's question, which says, what advice do you have for leaders who are hesitant to introduce innovative changes due to fear of disrupting established traditions?
Could you repeat the fear of?
What advice would you like to give to the leaders who are hesitant to introduce innovative changes due to the fear of disrupting established traditions? Like not giving up on the traditions, but still moving on with the innovation.
So as far as your point or your innovation that you're bringing in is for a better cause, it has a larger audience and a need to cover and cater to, I don't think so it should be a challenge. As far as you are confident on what you're bringing in, why you're bringing in, your why should be very powerful. And what is it going to solve? What is the problem or the issue it is going to solve? And who are the people who are going to benefit from that? So if this is clear, I don't think so people will have any apprehensions or hesitation if it is even causing some kind of a disruptions, because any change in the beginning will have some kind of resistance. We humans are bound to first take a step back and then understand, okay, this is going to be the way of life and this is what it is needed, right? Like very simple example of wearing a mask. Did we imagine that we're going to wear a mask at any point of time? No, but then we adapted to it, and now when even if it comes back, we are okay to do it. But initially, we had a lot of resistance. What is this and all of that? So don't worry. As far as the cause is, the why is big, and the reason that you're going to serve it, and who is going to get benefited out of it. If this is clear, it shouldn't be. So just go ahead and do it. But I hope you've calculated your risk element and why you should do and all of that very well. If you have thought through, that's fine. I hope I answered your question.
Next, we have Manaswi who asks, how can a company effectively integrate innovative practices without compromising its traditional values? So again, moving on with their own traditions, with their own cultures. Yes.
Yes. So if even if I take let's say Toyota itself, Toyota as a company, we know it's a Japanese company. They are very much driven by a lot of things. They have their principles, but then they did not resist from the adapting to the change. So while their core principle still remains that the customer should be happy and whatever is promised is delivered, right? So that they still keep. There is no compromise on that. They don't cut corners in that. Their engines and the way that they come up with their vehicles are very well tested and well known for the durability in terms of what they deliver. right? And it has that value. Customers are happy once you buy a Toyota. You're like a Toyota fan. You just don't want to switch over to anything else. That's the kind of loyalty that comes in, and that is their actual core traditional culture, that the customer should be with them and they are going to give the customer the best of the experiences. So this is what it is. We should never compromise on the quality of what we deliver to our customers. If our core principle is to give them what we commit to, we stick to it.
I hope that answers the question, Manasvi had. Moving on, we have Devji who asks, how can we strike a balance between embracing new ideas and preserving the value of our heritage? Because again, I feel balancing is a delicate task.
Yeah, so for very, very simple fact is, most of us fail to balance our tradition or understand the need of the changes because we're very judgmental by nature. And there are some old paradigm thoughts that we all have inculcated because of the surrounding or culture that we are born in, that we don't see beyond that. So let's remove those masks that are covering our eyes. Let's not be judgmental about anything or any thought process, and have a bigger picture in mind. Very important, right? It, because even in terms of bringing in gender sensitivity, people are still, we are still not a gender neutral society, by the way, yet. We are still a gender bias in some extent, a gender sensitivity kind of a thing, and that is only possible when we leave some of our old paradigms or old thought processes that has been there. The minute we start doing that and we're not going to be judgmental about anything, you will be able to balance things much better. What will be right for you need not be right for someone else.
Exactly, very well said that, Bhavani.
Yeah.
Now we have Suhas Mishra who asks, how can leaders foster a culture that embraces both innovation and tradition?
Yes. So, as a leader, the first quality of a leader is to lead by example. Okay, and lead the way forward. Now, how you lead the way forward is what everybody is going to follow it. So, if you as a leader believe that, okay, we are going to, let's say you're the founder. Like for my own company, my vision, mission, goal is to add immense value to people, where I help in transformations. Now, this I need to, if that is my core value of the company and my core value, the person who is going to be part of my company should also believe in this. If there is no alignment over there, that is when the problems are going to come in. Now, as a leader, it's my core responsibility. The arrow of responsibility is always pointing towards me, that I educate that person and tell the person my bigger why this is important and why they have to be aligned. So you lead by example, you show the way so that they follow. And if they don't follow, the arrow of responsibility is still with me, not to blame them. So if you start doing that, you take complete owners of what's happening with you, around you, you will be able to be a better leader, and that is good enough for people to be influenced by what you're doing.
Then we have Buddha Bhushan who asks, and again, I think even I had the same question, that when we innovate, the cost of product increases in certain stances. So, what in that situation should a company or a leader do? Do they increase the cost of the product, or continue the way the things were?
So now, as we know, things have changed, and every with the inflation and GDP and all of that coming into the effect, the cost of living is not the same as it was even 2 years ago, right? So that is the fact. Now, when you have to evaluate all of it, uh, and let's take example of introducing the COVID vaccine itself. Our country did not get a patent done for it because they wanted others to use it. It was their intention was not to make money over there, right? They didn't wanted it, so they kept it open so that it can be used for a larger benefit of people. Now it depends what kind of work that you're doing. If the cost of it is increasing, you can probably bring in something or find till the time that you're able to find some other alternative which can kind of probably reduce the cost, Or you need to be very clear that this is the cost and why this cost. When you are going to put that out, I don't think so that's going to bring in any change. Now, example, movie tickets are like sky high right now in Bangalore. Do we stop going to movies watching? No, we want to go watch the movies. People will still go, still buy it as far as it's adding value to them. If people are convinced with your product, with the whatever that you're doing, and if it is going to add value to them, they will buy it. If you're already in a mindset of my thing is going to be expensive, then how are you going to sell as a salesperson?
Exactly. I think that works well. And even, when it comes to companies nowadays, innovation is required to keep up with the
Yeah.
changing customer trends. So
Yes.
yes, definitely. Then moving on, Bhavani, we have Anand who asks, what are the risks of neglecting tradition in the pursuit of innovation? So are there any risks associated?
Um, so that depends on what tradition you were following in, and if your tradition was well known. Now, since it's December and Christmas, so I'm just bringing in Christmas element. I'm sure everybody knows the Santa Claus story and stuff like that. This is it's a myth. You can call it, it's a mythological character, whatever that you name it. But imagine after 10 years, 15 years, this is just stopped. Yeah, there's no Santa Claus, so there's nothing like that. Won't it be like the generation ahead is missing out on some of our traditions?
Definitely, yes.
Yes. So traditions are very important. Those traditions which help us to give us our identity, which is kind of a source of our energy, and which has been very positive in terms of approach and everything. We should embrace them and retain them. Okay. There are few things which has not been adding value. Let go of them. Things that is doing good, let's not disrupt those. Yeah, let them be. And you can bring in a blend of it wherever possible, a touch of it, not necessarily everything that is possible, but a touch of it. That's all is needed. We don't have to be hardcore into it. And like some traditional businesses have not expanded, though they have a good market size for it, but they don't believe in expanding. Now we can't do anything about it. Now those after a point of time will kind of perish if there are no people to follow, take it forward and continue the legacy. It could be a food chain, it could be a restaurant, it could be a company. Like the traditional way of making Banarsi silk is kind of becoming very less these days because there are no people to do it. Yeah, your chicken curry work. You take about the traditional hand woven things of Northeast. There are so many things that as a state they offer, but people aren't aware because there is no market for them to grow. So now it is in our hands that how do we keep these going live? Our own traditional artifacts, be it handmade products, so many are just dying because there are no people to continue it. So that is where this generation is very much important, where you can bring in the technology and keep that tradition alive.
That's again, I would say, a very well explained answer.
Yeah.
Next, we have Taranum who asks, this innovation and tradition, conflict or the balance that we need to strike, is it more challenging or more evidently prevalent in some industries or sectors? Like, are there any such industries?
Where it is prevalent, where it is
More,
evident.
yes, yes.
Um, See, hospitality, it is very evident where you see the age-old traditional way of even greeting, welcoming is still the way that we do namaste and the tilak and all of that. They still use it while they have the latest technologies in terms of check-in process being very easy. And on the cruise, if you see, there are now what are these robotics which are doing the bartender work and stuff like that. So it has a blend of it. In definitely the hospitality has. Automobile industries, it's more evident where they are bringing in your medicine. So all of these industries, it's very prominent in that. while there are traditional businesses also which are bringing in a lot, like the Karachi bakery, for example, is they only used to be in Hyderabad, but now they are there everywhere because they've understood that they need to expand and grow. But how they could do it? Because of the technology. Yeah. So they brought in those kind of machines and stuff like that, which can make the traditional Karachi biscuit more and available. While there are the similar thing in Pune and Bombay, but they have not grown the way that Karachi bakery has grown. I'm just taking all these relatable stuff so that you get an idea of how you can maintain your tradition and still grow using the technology.
The next question we have from Darshini, who says, can you share examples of successful instances where innovation and tradition have complemented each other in navigating the change? I think we already have addressed. If there's anything that you want to add.
No, I think pretty much. I think all the companies that I've already said. I don't see anything that I've missed out. Yeah.
And then we have the last question that says, how can technology be used to enhance traditional practices rather than replacing them? That question is from Melvin. I think a beautiful question.
Could you repeat it once again, Palak? How do I?
How can technology be used to enhance the traditional practices rather than replacing them?
Yeah, Melvin, right? Thanks for that question. We're not replacing, we're just blending. So if so age-old acutouch, acupressure, these are all age-old methodologies of healing. Yes, it still continues to be in the same way, but the setup is not the same way. Yeah, we don't have to go to some remote place to find that person. They're very much available, but they still follow the traditional way of treating people, understanding the root causes and giving solutions. But are available for a tele or a virtual way of treating as well. During COVID, we or even now, there are a lot of e-medical offers that are available, wherein you just go get on a Zoom or on a WhatsApp call, and they're able to treat you and do that. So this is where the technology is bridging in the gap. So they did not change any methodology over there, but they've been giving you treatments even on calls and this. So I think this is a perfect blend of seeing how it has been a boon where technology has been a boon for following the traditional methodologies of healing. So I sometimes take my healings through virtual because I'm sitting in some other town in the city and I can't reach my healer. Then I just get on a Zoom call and we do the healing process. Yeah. So it's the same way. She has all the setup. She does everything. She will chant the same things what she has to do. It's just that it's happening using an innovation called Zoom.
That's, I think, a beautiful wrap of the entire session also, because this answer, somewhere down the line, it has summarized the entire 1 hour that we have spent on how tradition and innovation are supposed to complement each other. Rather than seeing innovation as a threat in the new modern world, if we adapt to it, if we learn, how to balance it out with our existing traditions, our own values and core ways that we have been doing things, it improvises on how things are done. So I think that's been a major takeaway for me, that innovation is not change. Innovation is actually doing something that we are doing in a better way, in a more efficient manner. So, as we draw curtains on today's IRE Talks episode powered by GIBS Business School, I really want to extend my sincere thanks to all our participants and to you, Ms. Bhavani Arun, for your active participation, your insightful questions, and your such an elaborate experience that you have shared with us. I really believe that our participants had a lot of notes to be made from this session, a lot of takeaways from this, and your profound insights and expertise have helped all of us today. As we wind up the session today, let's carry forward the spirit of innovation, empathy, and collaboration that we have explored today. And thank you all for being an integral part of this engaging conversation. For those eagerly awaiting their certificates from today's webinar, we would like to inform that they will be processed within the next 24 to 48 hours. And please do join us on 9th of January 2024 as we will begin the year with another exciting IRE talk powered by GIBS Business School. Stay tuned on our YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, WhatsApp community handles for all the latest updates and news regarding IRE talks, upcoming events. This is your host Palak Bansal signing off. Thank you once again and see you all in the next IRE talk powered by GIBS Business School. Thank you so much, Bhavani.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I hope everybody had some value from this. Wishing everyone a great 2024 ahead.
Yes, Happy New Year to you as well, and all the best for your future journey.
Thank you.